Hi everyone, and welcome to Using a Debugger. I'm Norman McIntyre. Let's get started. Now the reason I decided to put this demonstration together is that a number of students have talked about having core dumps, and one way you can debug a core dump is by using the debugger. Notice on this side of the screen there's this icon here, and when you position on top of it, it says debugger. So click on that, and notice it shows these items here. It says step, or it says run, it says step next, skip step, and next breakpoint. And notice right here it says to start at a breakpoint, this little blue dot, by clicking on a line number. So I'm going to actually go here right at main, line number 4, right after main. I'm going to click, and notice that little blue dot that appears. I'll click again and it goes away. Click and it becomes there. So that's called a breakpoint. Now what's cool about this, your code will run up until that breakpoint. So watch this. I'll click here where it says run, and it starts running it in the debugger. And what's cool about this, it runs up until it hits this line, and notice down here it shows you the variables that are in your code. In fact, let me slide this over just a little bit. It literally shows you as you've started up, it shows you, for example, the value of argc is 1. The value of this ch, which we use later in our code, it's 0, and we have an argv value as well. In fact, notice you can even expand it and see what argv is. Okay, so you can do this right here where it says step next. If you just click on that, it will position this cursor to the next position, in other words, the next line. What this means is getting ready to execute this line. In other words, the debugger shows you the next line that's going to execute. Now notice on this side of the screen, we don't have anything on our screen yet, but I'm going to click here. This greater than sign says next step, and as soon as I do that, I want you to notice right here it says usage, home, runner, core dump, main, debug, and file name. In other words, it put this printf statement, and it actually did it there on the screen. And then we have this return 0. Well, notice if I just say run, you at any time can either say stop or just say run. This means run from where we're at, and notice it said exit status of 1. Well, that's exactly what we did. We said exit status of 1. Okay, so that's how you can actually use the debugger. Now let's do the following. I'm going to come on over here and say period/main, let me say no file. And when I press enter, notice it says no such file. So we're down here, right? We say that this fopen right here, fopen, it said no such file because we don't have a file called no file. The file we have, I actually have a file called colors.txt, so I have that there. So I could say okay, main colors.txt, and notice it actually, this code reads each one of those and basically reads each character of the file and prints it out. But if you wanted to see how that was working, we could do the following. We could say, well, you know what? Let's say if arg count equals 1, let's temporarily make a change here. I'm going to comment out these two lines, and I'm going to say if arg count equals 1, then I'm going to say my I'll make some changes dynamically. I'm going to have a character star file name is equal to, let's call it colors.txt. So that'll be the default file name. And what I'm going to do is comment this out as well. This way when I run it, even though the arg count is equal to 1, I'm going to still pick up this file name for debug purposes. So watch this. I'll come here and I'm going to first click on stop, and I'm then going to say run, and remember I'm running in the debugger. This thing here again is the debugger, so I'll say run until you hit that breakpoint, and notice it hits, you see the little cursor is right here at this file name equals, and in fact right here we see file name equals, and if I expand that, file name equals right here. So then I'll say step over. Does arg count equals 1? Well, we look down here, yes, arg count does equal 1. Step over, step over, step over. And notice right here to open it, we see the value of file. Right here, the value of file. Notice it does have a value right here. Right, you can actually expand it and look at all the information that's under there. And then we can do a step, and notice each time through, like right now I can look at the value of CH. CH has the value of 114, which is the value of in decimal of the letter R, capital R. And so it's basically going through here. So the deal is, if you had a core dump, you could use the debugger to step through your code until you get to the place where you find it's crashing at. Okay, so let me do one more here. I'll go ahead and click on stop. Let me just cause an artificial crash. Character pointer, I'll say crash equals 0. Then I'll say star crash equals the letter A. Okay, so this has the value of null. Null is 0, and if you try to store something at 0, you're going to crash. So let me click on this, run. Ooh, look, before signal illegal instruction core dump. Well, if you didn't know why you had core dumped, you could use the debugger. I'm going to put the breakpoint right here where it says printf, and remember, you toggle the debugger on and off with this icon here. I could say run. It's going to run up until it hits this breakpoint. Remember, the breakpoint says it's not yet executed that line of code, so we don't see anything on the output. But I could say the greater than sign says step, so I step one time. Notice it says before, and now we're going to set this variable crash to null, so I'll step once, and now sure enough we see that crash right here has a value of hex 0, which is null. So where should I get a core dump at? Well, right here, line number 13, we're going to try to store the letter A at this crash location, and crash has the value of 0. So watch this. Step. And right there, notice what has happened is we did not advance we didn't advance because it's basically stuck right there. In fact, let me do it again. So we basically got no further, right? So that tells us where we have crashed at. So in summary, use the debugger. This particularly during the midterm, this might be useful. Remember, you can just click on this icon, click on the side where you want your breakpoint. You can actually have more than one breakpoint, but for right now just pick one, and then you can run your code up to that breakpoint, and then you can step through it at that point. Alright, hope this helps you to start using the debugger to help learning your code. I'm Norman McIntyre. Thanks as always for watching.